Hi guys, it's me. Sorry for the close-up, but I'm going to be shooting by phone, so it's easier for me to hold it by hand, because what I'm going to do is I did tell you guys I was going to make a video about the AtGames Legend, but I had to format my computer and get some stuff reinstalled because I didn't figure out how to properly exit out of the local streaming, and it sort of caused a glitch, but everything's fine. I did lose some things, but I can retrieve most of it. Everything's re-downloading and installing fine. I'm always make backups just for this reason, because if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong, and it does. And if it does go wrong, it's at the worst possible time. In the words of Private Murphy, also known as Murphy's Law. So, Shalom Havel, in case my Israeli friends watching. Masim Ha, which is what have you heard, or how are you? It's more of a casual way of doing it. So anyway, by the time you guys are watching this, because I had one and accidentally deleted the video because I was cleaning my phone out and didn't realize I had accidentally deleted it. Okay, so what we have here is the AtGames Legends Pro Console. So I'll do a very brief video because I'm going to do a couple where I break the thing up. So just in case you're wondering why it's going back and forth to me on the screen, I'm rotating the phone. I can't switch, but obviously to show you you're in my bedroom, where I have this thing set up, because I wanted something small to go in here so I could play in my bedroom if necessary. This has less of a footprint than the cabinet. This deck is interchangeable with a cabinet. Now, it is Bluetooth compatible. However, I would not suggest plugging this one into the PC because, as you can see, there is a trackball, and it will cause confusion between your mouse, and it will be pre-configured as an Xbox controller. So, now, with the freestanding cabinet, in case one of you guys manages to get the AtGames Legends Ultimate, this is going to be the 8-button configuration. You do not have the spinners on this one. You will on the original deck. All the keys and everything are basically going to be the same, with the exception of not having the spinners. Now, in my case, I have a really good surge protector under here. So just in case you're wondering why there's a cord to keep the battery charged, I literally have it plugged in a USB port with an APC surge protector that is the 12 outlets with the covers. I'll put a link in each thing in the description if I remember to do that, and we'll go from there. Now, what you're going to see is my Roku on the right, and then the core, aka the puck, on the left. I did use my own HDMI cable, so it's going to look a little bundly in the shot, but it's not. It's just a matter of the way I drape the cables, because I went off HDMI 3 instead of plugging it in the second one, just because it was speedier that way to get this thing started. Let's see, next thing. This thing is Wi-Fi compatible, so for those of you that stream, you can do a wired connection, because I do have my desk over there, but I'm not going to show you because my furniture is a little beat up and I need to get some new stuff, but in the meantime it works. So, and I'm on a budget, so normally I don't splurge. In this case, setup is really easy if you follow the start guide. The only thing, and the reason I want to do separate videos, is with some of the local streaming, which is free, you're going to need some assistance with that. So, what you guys may see is me periodically pausing the video to bring menus up, because I have better dexterity control, so for steadier shots. You're probably going to see me pause it and then come right back and then start talking about it, just so you guys get a steadier shot of what I'm talking about and you have an idea. So just a quick overview. I'm in the game sections right now. At the next stage over is going to be the arcade net. I did not sign up for the arcade net yet. I will at some point, but I'm not in a hurry. Now, one thing you're going to have is a lobby in here, which this thing will automatically submit your high scores and stuff. Now, just so we're clear, the screen you're looking at here is going to be the pinballs, which I did add. I'll go into more than that in a few minutes. I did add 2 packs. They're sets of 4. One of them I associated with the device, and then one of them I did associate with my AtGames gamer account. I did purchase them through there. I'll explain why you want to tie them into your login and not the device. Because there's a reason for that. If I seem nervous or anything, if my Israeli friend's watching, it's not you. I just don't like being on camera, so, you know, you'll probably get more voiceover in this. And occasionally with the Hebrew, I'm trying to learn the vocabulary, but I don't want, you know, to mess up too much. So, you know, I can cover the basics and stuff pretty well, but, like, if you were to say something, I could probably understand it and do better going to English. But you're lucky enough to see me in my Hadar Shana. So, and I'll do some more videos later too, because I did get some Google Nest Hubs, not the Maxes. They don't have cameras in them. They do have the motion sensor. But one of the things I did want to do, so you can see why I use a lot of tech with the cerebral palsy and stuff, you'll understand why I use them and how I use tech so much and how they can be utilized as appropriate tools, and do a lot of research. I know sometimes you think I overthink, but sometimes there's a good reason behind it. But I'll go more into that and things like that, and how it can be useful for different setups and things like that. And we'll go from there. So you'll probably get a couple of videos, including the lock picking thing, which I am working on. I'm just not in a big hurry. Because some of it I want to do in small blocks and do it one at a time. I don't want to overextend or do too much at once. So I did want to get my gallbladder surgery and MRI out of the way. We had the imaging done. I don't have the results back yet. So you guys that are watching this, I'm okay. They just wanted to check a spot of concern. I'm assuming if something were critical at this point, they would probably call back sooner. And, you know, I appreciate everybody's support. I just wanted to try to get everything back up and running and slowly knock some projects out. I didn't want to do everything at once. So, just in case my Israeli friends watching, you don't have to be pressured or anything. I'm doing this for fun, and it's not to do Hebrew all the time. You gotta have a little fun videos and a few gamer things in there. So, add new stuff to the channel. So, this is a way I can be personal without doing too much or being TMI, which is too much information. That's American slang. So, you know, we'll go from there. Alright, first things first. This version, the AtGames Legends Console Pro, has 150 games in it. As I've said, it does set up to Wi-Fi. You will need that for firmware updates. First thing right out of the gates, there is flash drive compatibility. So there's a couple things you need to know on this. That flash drive is going to be on FAT32 or another X format. So you'll need a flash drive that you do not have anything important on it. There's only one port on this, so I would strongly recommend a multi-port hub, preferably 4-port. Nah, this may be a little better so you can get a shot of the full screen, so I'll tilt it like a pinball table. Tilted. Alright, that was a gamer joke, sorry. But just to get an idea, you guys will probably have an easy time with this. Yes, you can add ROMs to the device. I will show that. I want to do another video. I do have some ROMs, but one of the things I really like is you can actually do local streaming for free. Plus, there's a bring your own games thing. Now the bring your own games thing is a separate charge. It's $20 a month. It's normally about 30 hours. Somebody like me, they do local streaming. Because I have Pinball FX3. This console, which I'll show in a second, has the bumper buttons and push buttons for pinball. So you can actually straddle this entire deck. This is the left side. Same thing on the right side. You can actually straddle this. Now the Gamer Mini is going to be about to where my hand is, going to the left. There will be pinball buttons on that side. These do come off, so when you interchange with the AtGames Legends Ultimate, those pinball buttons do have to come off. You cannot just drop it in. You also need to save the longer screws to secure this deck with the original deck. So make sure you hang on to those, because one of the reasons I like these setups, even though this thing is not perfect, this is more modular, and for somebody like me who is familiar with arcade one-up and things like that, while these units are expensive, because I actually got this for $100, these are normally $299 a piece on average. Because I did go on Amazon and look, you can get them, but they are going to be very expensive. I was lucky enough to grab one at the very last second because for an hour I sat there debating whether I was going to pull the trigger on this when you guys did it, because I posted that story on the site that you guys are on. You know which one I'm talking about, because I know Mia knows, because she was there. She saw it. Let's see. I grabbed it at the last minute, and they had just sold out. Now, I can say that if you're lucky enough to be near a GameStop store, you can check around and get these, but I'm not going to guarantee that they're there. Each GameStop is different, and it depends on how well they sell. You can get them for the sale price of $100, or the mini at $50, but be forewarned. Each device is preloaded with different games. Now, you can buy the game packs, so I'll get into this for a second. On the eStore, you will set up a login to buy the game packs. When you set up an ArcadeNet login to redeem these codes, make sure the email address matches. You want to associate it with the login if you were going to buy multiple devices like I plan to do. Because if you associate it with the device, it will be only that device. So I had to buy one of these pinball packs again, which is no big deal. But by default, my advice, and I'm strongly encouraging you to do this, is to literally use that login and associate that code, because you will be able to go into the digital locker section and move those devices to another flash drive for that device. So, for example, I have a flash drive plugged in here that has the pinballs on this device. I can get a spare flash drive that I have, plug it into the freestanding cabinet, and easily go into my digital locker and download that pack again, because it's associated with my account and not the device itself. You can run CoinOpsX to run main ROMs. Now, one thing I will say, I did want to do Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, because I have the arcade collection in my Steam account. However, the way that's set up is there, it's not very good to run on this versus the PC, because I think what they did was literally configure it for an Xbox controller, but you have to go in there and manually configure it on the PC and manually change it out. Now, Pinball Effects 3, which I have, the only thing I do not have is the Indiana Jones table, which I will post footage of that so you guys can see it before I get the Indiana Jones table, so you can see what I'm talking about. With all the other tables that I previously bought, they will automatically set up to this device. Your plunger will be the A button. Your flippers will be the side buttons. So, like in my case, I can play all those pinball machines at my leisure through this device using the local streaming, which doesn't cost me anything. You can also do the bring your own games. It does work with the AtGames Legends pinball machine as well. You just have to set up local streaming. Once you manage to do that, and you're both on the same network, you will be able to identify your PC for whatever you called it and log in and set that up. Whatever machine you're on, you will literally have to log off from the gaming machine. So just be aware of that. When they refer to the menu key, that is going to be this button. But I'll go more into that in an individual video, so you guys do not have any problems seeing what I did, because the gentleman that shot the video, it wasn't bad. It's just because I'm visually impaired. It was literally over the shoulder and very difficult for someone like me who's visually impaired to see the menu and everything else he was talking about. Plus, on my TV, it's a much bigger screen and it's not angled, and I can do this. So you'll be able to see some of it and get an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, I'm on page 16 where I bought the game packs. But, as you add more, excuse me, Animates the air. My telephone was ringing and it was a spam caller. Animates the air, as I apologize in Hebrew. So, there we go. Okay, now that I know that was a spam caller, we can get back to the fun stuff. As I've said, you do want to connect this thing to the internet. One thing I would advise, if you were able to do this, if you're both on wired connections, just to avoid lag, you probably want to do both wired. You can do wired and Wi-Fi, but be aware you could have some lag issues depending on the timing. Fortunately, my router is in here because I'm more the tech person in the household. So somebody like me, you're not that far away from the router, you're not going to have that much lag or latency. The Bluetooth latency in this thing for the wireless setup, I haven't had any issues. Other people have. To easily reset the unit or disconnect the power, just unplug the micro USB power cable for a few seconds and then plug it back in. The only thing I had to do with the Wi-Fi setup where I was having problems is our router needed a dump. Like, as in, unplug it, let it hardwire recalibrate, because depending on the ISP, your gateway and your router are all in the same spot. So in order to do it, it's easier just to unplug it for about 10 to 30 seconds and then turn around and redo it. Now, the games that are bundled on here, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones. There's going to be 150 by default. They're not going to be for everybody. This is not a top-of-the-line arcade deck either, but it's not cheap or, pardon me for saying this, complete crap. Or junk, or kata. She knows what I said, I'm not even going to translate that. But it's good. The trackball to me is very responsive. So if you're doing something like Operation Wolf, which is bundled on here by default, you can use the trackball and handle it. I use the joystick because I'm just kind of used to doing the old school NES port. And I think there was a version where they did use a joystick at one point. I think, but I'm not sure. By the time the game came out on my end, it had already been way down the pipeline because I turned 42 in May because Noah Tishby's birthday, the Israeli actress, her birthday is literally the day before mine. So I'd be 42, she'd be 46. Kind of had a crush. But you know, by the time I came along, arcades, I was in the heyday of the arcades. So for somebody like me that was disabled, when other kids could play baseball and stuff, I was more a computer nerd, kind of a gamer kind of thing, because somebody like me that was in a wheelchair, things like chess, pinball, different things like that, it was a way to decompress and have something to do, because, like, as a teenager, I didn't go on a lot of dates, because the wheelchair draws attention and stuff, so for somebody like me, arcades were a way to be social and have fun, kind of decompress from school, because other than school and academics, you know, I kind of did a lot of solo activities, because that was just me, because I could figure out how to adjust and do things that worked for me that didn't necessarily work for a team. It's not that I'm not a team player, but somebody like me, they bond better over a chessboard. So, for example, if I were to ask me or my Israeli friend or Milos to play chess, somebody like me would be like wanting to play because they like chess and it's just something they like to do. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show some of the other menus so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to pause the video for a second. Alright, I'm in the ArcadeNet section. They give you 2 hours for free on the free tier by default. If you do the ArcadeNet charge, it's $20. Some of the games you can download locally to a flash drive. I think they're working on a service where you can actually, like, if you're a subscriber and you had a valid subscription, you can legally download the ROMs because you were subscribed at that time and then add them to your machine. I don't know that totally for sure, but we'll go from there. So, the next section I'm going to do, if I can do this without having to pause it, this is the lobby section for online play where you submit scoreboards. If you do a multiplayer game and want to use a headset mic, you need to make sure it is a Bluetooth headset because Bluetooth is built into this thing, and you need to make sure it has a microphone if you want to use voice. I don't have one set up. A lot of times when I have my Logitech gamer headset on my PC, I usually keep the mic function pulled back because I'm not much of a talker. I'm more just go in there and play. So that's just how it works. Next menu. This is where you would, if you have a flash drive installed and have mounted it, you can see add-ons and other things from USB devices. This device only has one port, but the cabinet will have two, so your firmware across the board, pretty much with any of these devices, is going to have that. The Cloud BYOG is Cloud Bring Your Own Games, the service I was telling you about where you got 30 hours. And the local streaming would be where you identify your PC, fire it up, use the arcade link, and literally stream to the television set. The reason I'm doing this video on a separate thing is I'm not going to be able to play one-handed, and you guys can physically see the default layout before I start streaming, because it'll probably be easier for me to be right in there and automatically do it. Now, here on the next menu, you're going to have the Arcade Legends stuff, as you can see, where I have those two little check marks, if you guys can see that. Those are the game packs I already bought. I'm doing them one at a time. You can buy them in bundles. However, somebody like me that's on a budget, I don't mind paying $25 for one game pack at a time, and then adding it as I want to go. Because the other game packs with the larger volumes, they're bundled. Now, CoinOps X is going to be where you can add your own main ROMs. I will do a separate video for that because I'm going to have to basically do that kind of as an individual video. I feel like that would be a better thing to do so you guys manage to do it. Now, the fun part is going to be the settings menu, because I can at least go ahead and do this kind of as an introductory video and get your feet wet. Now, this is where you're going to go to check your Wi-Fi and your firmware and Flash Drive X. Flash Drive X, where I had the hard drive that I got for doing surveys and stuff like that, what they do is they work out where the retailers and Best Buy will send you like a flash drive or something as a reward for different stuff. They are in pre-bundled boxes. I've been using that survey service for years. So somebody like me, I had a spare 128 gig flash drive that I had gotten from them and put it to use. So guess what I did, kids? Flash Drive X, mounted the drive, started buying game packs. Now the firmware is going to roll out every Thursday of the month, every fourth Thursday of every month, typically, if necessary, because they try to consolidate. So just like Patch Tuesday for Windows, you're going to have Patch Thursday for these devices, which is typically the fourth Thursday. They'll roll out over the air because your core or your puck will do an over-the-air update. That light will stay on by default. So once you're connected, the only way to turn it off is essentially unplug it. Now the console deck here, the red button, just like the arcade deck, that will power off. This literally will power off. And if you have it wired, it'll charge. But in my case, my battery's not going to drain because I have it on. And I have it in Bluetooth mode, and I have it plugged into a USB port on my surge protector. I went and got the APC surge protectors, which I'll put a link to in the description if I remember to do that for YouTube, because that's easier to do. Because anything I put as far as links, in order to protect you guys, it will be only in the description. I do not do anything else, because I know a lot of people like to spam accounts and put other stuff and do things like that. So somebody like me, if you don't see it in the description, don't click it. Because somebody like me, they're going to verify it and they're going to tell you where to go and how to get legit stuff. So, and the other thing is with things like the Capcom Beat 'em Up collection and legalized ROM packs that you are able to buy, as in the Street Fighter Anniversary collection, you're going to be able to stream and play pretty much every Street Fighter game and stuff like that. The one exception might be if it's not available on Steam. In the Steam store at the time of this recording, which is March 2022, they are available. So, and the Cowabunga collection for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set is not out yet. However, somebody like me who's a Konami fan will buy that. So, Konami, you're going to get my $40. Cowabunga dudes. You're going to get my money. so that's an exception to the rule. Let's see. Let me think. Yeah, there's the digital locker thing that I was telling you about to make sure you associate it with your account in case you want to do multiple devices. So anyway, I do some gameplay footage, but with me holding the phone and having to do it one-handed, I don't think it's going to do a good job. Otherwise, I'd pull everything up and it's just going to kind of, well, suck. Excuse me for saying that. So, you know, totally don't want to crash and burn on my video, dudes. It'd be a total bummer. Little Generation X sling there. So anyway, like he throat, enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you later. While I did do this for you gamer friends and a certain Israeli, hopefully it's not too personal, but you guys get to see something fun and me at play, not doing Hebrew or news stories or work all the time. So enjoy the video. Hopefully I'll do some more. If you guys have any questions or anything, leave them down in the comments for YouTube and that other social site, which is not Facebook. I'll try my best to answer the question. If I can't, I'll look it up and see if I can get references. But in the meantime, stay tuned for other videos.